What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Classic Quest, the show where we break down albums track by track, albums such as Skribbal's In Their Blood and From the Gutter. It was a little EP, and we go through them and we give our thoughts and our opinions on each of the songs and let you know what we think about them. My name is Holden Stephan Roy.
I am your lady friend Bonnie.
And I'm Chris Chrome.
And yeah, today we're going to be talking about Skribbals In Their Blood and From the Gutter. And what's up, Zalmanel? He be here watching it live, twitch.tv/behind that so in the future, if you want to come through, it's 12 o'clock noon EST up on Sundays, and you can come watch us review albums. We're going to try and do it as weekly as possible. Otherwise, you in the future, we still appreciate you because you're the foundation. But we do like to start off every episode describing our familiarity with the artist coming into it and a little bit explaining why we chose to do these reviews. So, Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about your familiarity with Skribbal going into this project, what your expectations are?
I mean, I've known Skribbal since we've been doing album reviews way back when. I remember reviewing one of his projects as well, and I remember liking it. I like his style. I like the kind of way he goes with it.
Chris, you have no mouth.
I have no mouth. Oh well,
because you're like you're slouching and
you're too close.
There, I'm gonna be like this. But I mean, I know Skribbal because he interacts with me, so I like his energy and I like the type of like just who he is. So I'm always just, I guess, excited for it because like I didn't think I was not gonna like this project, but I didn't know what to expect either because I haven't listened to a Skribbal song in like a while. So
also,
I've been on some other things.
If you're like me, you needed a Skribbal codex to understand what's going on the cover. But Bonnie, what is your familiarity with Skribbal coming into this project and what your expectations were like a little bit before you heard it when you found out we were doing it?
Yeah, so we previously have listened and reviewed his album Black Eyed Children. I think that's the only one that I was involved with.
Yeah. That's this.
Yeah, and like, you know, he's like an old school like friend of the channel. So I think that that's really cool. And so I kind of know what to expect going into like this kind of an album, you know, by Skribbal. I know what he sounds like. I know what he's kind of like, what his vibe is. So yeah, that's what I know.
Well, yeah. I mean, Skribbal hit us up and was like, yo, you guys want to review my album? Like, way back. And I was like, yeah. And then we debated it. Somebody was like, are you sure you want to review this guy? Look, I'm like, I don't know. You never know. And it turned out Skribbal went on to do wonderful things. So we did that first one. But then Skribbal stuck around. He's been in the DMs for years. You know, if anything, I'm kind of biased in the sense that I know Skribbal in like that regard. Like it's like reviewing a homie shit. So just take that with a grain of salt going into it. I might be a little too comfortable, you know what I'm saying? But with that, I do like Skribbal's style in general. I think he's extremely talented at what he does. And he makes a lot of what he does look easier than... Yo, man, Skribbal's so connected to stuff. I end up working with other people, and they start throwing Skribbal's name at me.
Everybody knows him.
Because it's all connected to Chemo, the Key to More Greatness. So all the people that Chemo, the Key to More Greatness gets connected to in some way ends up getting connected to Skribbal. And then people show up in my life and are like, Skribbal this, Skribbal that. And I'm like, damn, Skribbal, you got a far-reaching range of people that are, for lack of a better term, on your dick, because that's what it sounds like from my perception, of which I think it's a little funny, you know, because Patreon literally was up in the Patreon, Skribbal was literally up in the Patreons. You can see that little sword next to his name when he chats up in the channel.
That's
I digress. True. We're here to talk about this album, but I do think it's fair to put that like familiarity context. You can tell I've done a lot of album reviews and talked to a lot of comments after. Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about the title, the cover, your thoughts and feelings on all of it?
I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Stands out. The red and the black and the way that they like did the blood splatter on his name was super cool. I enjoy it. I mean, just because of the editing aspect of my life. It really suits like the demonic devilish aspect that usually he kind of portrays in a lot of his I guess photos and music as well. Not in a bad way. I really enjoy it. I like how it's kind of like it's water but blood, and it's like he's connecting everything with the title of In Their Blood as with the symbolism with the photo. So that's also cool. I mean, it's really well done, and it fits like. I think if you're going to take this as a first Skribbal album, you kind of have an idea of what to expect on the project, I guess, a little bit content wise, given the use your brain, Chris, the cover of the project.
Well, good use of your brain. Bonnie, how about you?
Yeah. So I like the cover. I think it's cool. I think it, it's like his face coming out of like a pool of blood. Like he's kind of like creepy and like, you're kind of, I feel like, you're going to get kind of like a horrorcore kind of feeling with this album. And he has like symbols on his forehead, and like right away, like I knew what it was. Like those are like the symbols that the son of Sam used. Who was like an actual.
I did not know those were the symbols. I don't know if you did, Chris.
No, I did not know.
Well, you need to, know your son of Sam knowledge. So he was an actual serial killer in like the 80s, and he killed a bunch of people in Brooklyn, I believe, to be exact. So like this was like a real person, and he was a serial killer. So you kind of are, what to kind of expect from this. And I don't know if In Their Blood and From the Gutter is something that the son of Sam said. Maybe I don't know every word that he ever said, but like it fits. So I liked it. Oh, and this one came out January 23rd, 2022. So it's a pretty new album.
Yeah, it's pretty new. He was like, I'm dropping it. And I'm like, we got you with that review. But yeah, the cover, I felt more like Chris because I just saw the tattoo on his head. And I'm like, fair enough. I'm sure that means something. And I let it be. I was not curious. So that's what it is. But that's also like, I'm not necessarily that into the occult and stuff. So it isn't like generally something I would be. But from a design perspective, it's really well done. Like, I agree with Chris. It highly communicates it. Plus, black and red, when you look at it, is highly underutilized in music. When you really think about it, like you don't really see a lot of album covers I find that look like that, so it really just stands out in that regard too. The title's cool. I didn't put a lot of thought into it. I felt it was pretty clear. In Their Blood and From the Gutter makes me feel like some murdery fucking, you know what the thing is, like some Jack the Ripper shit. Like it's gonna be like horrors and degenerates in like the vile side of life that gets murdered, because a lot of times I guess like people play in that world and so you get away with it, whereas if you kill the rich white people it doesn't work out the same way to you.
So just like I wanted to like mention like for, because you kind of brought that up, but the son of Sam, he was killing like a particular type of woman most of the time. Like he did kill men too, but it was like usually like I think it was like short, I can't remember what it was. It was like long brown hair, and so like people, like girls were wearing like short blonde wigs like to try and like not be murdered by him and stuff like that. Like this was like a real like thing that existed, like for I think like a whole summer or like a whole year, so of just people being terrified of like sitting in their car and getting killed.
I'm gonna tell you one thing though before we really get into it. I know for a fact that Skribbal is a bit of a true crime junkie, because you might expect that our conversations go down the path of a lot of no, man, there is a large volume of Skribbal voice notes of him geeking out over particular true crime serial killer shits that he's obsessing over this week. And what I like about Skribbal,
people love that shit,
is it's not even the first time he's like hit me in like voice notes excited about some shit, and then there's music related to it that appears later on. And
yeah, the last one wasn't about like the guy that jumped out of the plane that like stole. I mean, it wasn't a serial killer, but it was like a true crime.
And literally he had, yo, I'm so great. You gotta check out this podcast, man. I've been going through every single episode and this, that, the next thing. And it's like, then you hear the song and I'm like, oh, I know exactly what the fuck this thing is. You told me all about it. And I think that's actually really an interesting thing for an artist to do, right? Because it's one thing to like take on this random persona in horrorcore and be like a person, but it's another thing to almost like tap into real life history and bring it into a different level, or at least bring a sense of your personality and passion into it. So I think that's super nifty. And again, I have a whole shit ton of extra context that allows me to say that the average person might not, but that was what I was left with. All I had to say, it's a little 5-tracker. That's why we're gonna, I guess, get started with it. That was a terrible segue.
Yeah.
It was like some Holocaust Winds shit. All right, Bonnie, what do you think about the song Holocaust Winds?
So this one is like interesting. It starts with like kind of like evacuation sirens and things like that. So it definitely like puts you into like whenever I hear like evacuation sirens, I think of like Germany or like, you know, like World War II, like that kind of thing. Like there's going to be like bombs or whatever. So obviously something scary is about to happen. And then the first lines are Skribbal Berkowitz, and David Berkowitz was the apparent son of Sam. I mean, there's more to it than that. Like there were other people involved, and like there was all kinds of, you know, stuff that happened around that. But he was the one that claimed to be the son of Sam. So it's interesting that he's like kind of like taking on that persona. So that's kind of, you know, you're kind of knowing what you're going to expect from this album. And then there's some of like the interview like with David that he, you know, that he was saying things that he was doing what the devil was asking him to do, and like he was just following, you know, doing what this thing said to do. I believe in like the real situation, it was a dog that was like giving him like the orders. Like it was very like weird. Yeah, I do definitely enjoy like the flow that like Skribbal brings. Like he's like just like fun but like creepy at the same time. I really like the beat and like the scratching that was mixed in.
Real good
You know,
scratching.
yeah, like the lyrics are, you know, super dark, very like horrorcore, you know, for sure. And I like the line on like the hook, I murder Mike, then disappear like the Zodiac. Again, like, you know, Zodiac Killer was another you know, famous serial killer, and you know, nobody knows who he is, and just, you know, cold case. So it's kind of cool that he kind of does it like that, and he's saying he's gonna like destroy it just like that. So yeah, I thought it sounded really, you know, pretty cool. I gave this one a 4.5 on 5.
And you, Christopher?
Nice. So after listening to it a couple times, I got this feeling that he's introducing himself at the beginning of like most projects. You kind of show off your skills and what you can do and kind of where like what you're going to be discussing throughout the project a bit. And what I felt was like he's kind of describing this internal battle with himself a little bit of like going through a bit of struggles, I guess, within his mind and just kind of within his life, but at the same time also proving that he's like a really good rapper, right? Like slaughter, martyrs, toss their body to the sea. I'm a beast, natural born, spawn, spun, wicked, may appear calm, and the storm's still kicking. Like I kind of feel like there's this battle rap-esque to like I'm better than you, and this is why, and I'm super crazy and stuff like that, which I thought was super cool. I like the line where he was like, hold it, heard somebody saying I was biting them, but only time I bite is when I'm striking like Leviathan. I like that only because it for me, Leviathan, I know that's like this mythical creature and stuff, but it kind of gave me this Destiny 2 reference because there's a raid called Leviathan and that shit bites you in the ass if you fuck up. So I thought that was also cool. But I felt like this was really kind of straightforward in a good way to be introduced to Skribbal. If you've never really listened to him before, I like the way he delivered this. Divine 808s consume your gloom state, and entombed the soul waits to break from those gates. I like the way he just kind of connected those together. The flow with that was really dope. Yeah, I thought it was all cool. I like the idea of Holocaust Winds, the smoke in the sky, like Holocaust Winds, where for me I took that as like he's smoking weed to relax and kind of like de-stress a bit, but also acknowledging that there's like he's still going through some stuff and there's like trouble in the world, or like there's still like chaos going around him, and tying that with the Holocaust wind of terms like the smoke and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. Thought it was dope. 4.2 on 5.
Nice.
I mean, the first thing I'm struck with is Skribbal mad. Like that's the vibe. Like I mean, you're taking on the personification of somebody that's going after women, right? Why? Now, I'm going to just project here, but if you listen to some of these bars and the general energy, this has definitely got a fuck a rapper vibe. Um, or at least fuck a type of rapper vibe to it, or an attitude or whatever. And it's like, deep inside, I can feel it's a lag, keeps me pushing through the bullshit, It's like there's something kicking, there's something happening, like there's some rage, there's something that's still fueling that.
And he does mention Suge Knight, I think, right? So I think that also like kind of like the danger and like revenge kind of situation.
Yeah, like there's like a power to it. And then the rest of this track just lays out like, yo, I am that shit. And what I think really exemplifies it is the lack of complexity in the flow. And this is not an insult. It's like this super cleanly delivered, constant, like, yo, I don't even have to try and I can still make a song sound proper because, yo, I actually do write that good. I keep it that constant. I keep it that proper. And look at that. Everybody can understand everything I'm saying. And I feel like there's a really interesting approach to have taken with it because, like, I listen to so many over-the-top indie rappers that it's like, okay, that's a lot. And then I listen to a lot of people doing the super tricky shit. But Skribbal's like, nah, I'm going to show you what the basics look like in a sense. And really, like, laid down this foundation. You got the scratching placed really nice. You have an actual chorus making it proper, like, song. Because, like, yo, I was just, like, saying somewhere else recently that, like, scratching on a hook is not my favorite. Like when you replace a hook with scratching. I'm like, that's not my favorite. What I really like is when the scratching is kind of laced into the track as like a bridge or an intro or an outro, and then you still get the hook. And I feel like that just is a cooler song structure. It's 2 verses. It comes through. I mean, the bars, like I said, are very to the point, but I feel like there's a hunger in it. And then, I mean, a Holocaust is like you taking out some shit, a group of people. Like that's the first thing I think of a Holocaust is it's specific to a group of people. So it's like Skribbal's coming through to murk the opposition, whoever that may be in his universe, in a serial killer
but also
systemic
like the whole
way.
The idea of like Holocaust winds made me think that because like the wind that would be blowing like over like Auschwitz or something like that would most likely carry ashes of dead people.
And smell like ass.
And yeah. And so like that kind of thing made me think that like, there's going to be like mass destruction, like that kind of thing.
I like it. I like it a lot as a track. It's a solid like 4.25, 4.5-ish. Like I'd have to be in the mood to throw this on, which often is the case with Skribbal's music with me just to take that. I love it. I respect it, but he taps into his vibe where I got to be in the mood for it. But when I'm in the mood for it, this shit slaps hard. Like I've never, I put it on and it's like this could be any other dude doing this shit in the realms of stuff I want to listen to. And I mean that like, it makes sense that like, I like Skribbal shit, I guess. I don't know. That was a terrible ending, so I'm just going to leave it at that. The beat's fire. I don't know who made it, but it really has like this groove to it, and I really want to commend the groove in the beat because it isn't over the top. It's just kind of laid it out, and in a sense, it almost taps into like what Oasis does with that groove-centric, capture you in a vibe, and just let you kind of ride the wave feel to it, and I really like that. On that note, let's move on to the next track, Tim Allen, Coke. All right, Bonnie, what do you think about Tim Allen's Coke?
So this one says it's featuring Gore-Tex on Genius, but on Spotify it says Lord Goat. So I wasn't sure who was the feature, but either way, fine.
It's the same guy.
Or maybe they're the same person, different name. I don't know. Anyways, so I liked Skribbal's bars on this one. I thought it was cool. He's got that Tim Allen Coke, and that's why I looked that up and made sure learned a little bit more about Tim Allen and his youth and I think when he was like a kid to like when he was in his 20s, he got involved in some things that I think that he was just trying to do what he needed to do. I don't think his dad was around and he was just trying to make ends meet.
Arguably, people sell Coke to make money.
Yeah. So he was just trying to make a little bit of money and, do what he needed to do. So that's kind of what that is from.
I just think it's funny that it's Tim Allen because, like, you find out Tim Allen.
It's not who you would think of.
Slang on his Coke and got caught, and then he turned his life around and became children's star.
And he was like drinking since he was like 10 years old. Like he had like a hard, childhood. So now he's making other children very happy.
Big respect to Tim Allen.
Yeah, for sure. So Lord Goat or whoever is good, and like, he spits like the, horror bars as well. This one has more of like a slower beat, but like the delivery, I feel like punches really hard. Like it's really like interesting how he does it. There's like some lines about like home improvement and like kind of like things that kind of tied together. So I thought that was cool. And also I wanted to also mention just that I think it comes up. Tim Allen's real name is Timothy Dick. So I just thought that was funny. And Skribbal clearly likes to make references to like older things. Like it seems like, like 80s, 90s, and like even like before that. So like there's kind of like lots of things that kind of like touch on. So it's not really it doesn't feel dated because he's kind of choosing things that are like history, So and it does feel like very inspired by like the late 80s, early 90s kind of feeling. And then he also has like lines about like John Goodman, and then going even further back, he's got mentions Polanski's wife, and like she was another one who was murdered by like the Manson family and all of that. So yeah, I mean, I like it. It was good. I gave this one a 4.35 on 5.
Nice.
And you, Mr. Christopher?
So I kind of took it as I didn't know actually Tim Allen got busted for coke and a bunch of shit like that.
Did you not?
So the way I no, I didn't really. So the way I kind of took it was the way that rappers use like Hannah Montana or like White Girl for their product of cocaine. And in terms of kind of being like, I got that Tim Allen coke, I was like, oh, so you got that like dope bars is how I kind of looked at it and how I kind of perceived it.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, I bet you're right about that too. Like there's a layer of
right
that don't even get me
because
wrong.
he goes, when I grip, Skribbal goes, when I grip the mic, that shit's smoking, flip potent flows designed in slow motion, one dose, get your block overdose and bars cooking. And I'm like, yo, that kind of sounds like, you're cooking up in the kitchen or in the studio and you're doing what you got to do and you're providing the product to the block and they all jumping up for it. Like he says in the, if I'm not mistaken, the hook. Well, the little intro at the beginning there, everybody tripping, lifted, lift off the flow. So that was dope. And he really holds it consistent with like tying in the like the selling dope and the dope bars metaphor. That was super cool. I did like how he addresses some of the fans, as in like fans hated when I signed the deal with Sony, talking all that sellout bullshit, bitch, blow me. And I'm like, yo, you know what? Like, I really, really do like that, because at one point, like, we're all kind of reaching for a deal. We're all kind of looking for something to help us, make changes and do better things and do greater things. And like, yo, if you get to work with Sony, it's like, why the fuck not? Like, anyway, that's a whole different sellout conversation we can have another day. And then we get the hook. I got that Tim Allen Coke, slang and blow, like the Tool Man Tim Allen Coke, which is cool. The Home Improvement reference, that's dope.
Shout out Home Improvement.
But like, what I found interesting was Lord Goat gives me more of a storytelling feel, with like in the deli with bloody smocks, all Black Testament Reeboks. It's like I'm getting this descriptive picture of where you're at, what you're doing. Push over 3 blocks, work in the knee socks. And I'm like, okay, I really kind of feel like you're giving us this idea of what's happening in the environment, how you kind of have like the actual Tim Allen Coke, the whitest of the white, and doing what you got to do to make some money. So that was really, really cool. I like that. And then at the end also kind of seems like there's a little bit of a chase. Bad lieutenant murdered in black linen, young Lucifer burn you to a carcass like Gary him and carry a scimitar. I like that line. That's why I said it. Rhyming with the scimitar, kind of like, I was like, wait, what? Did you just say that? So that was dope. But then that equals the planets that stop spinning, Mooseburg, Infinity changing lanes, and the cop missed him. So that kind of gives me this idea that's like, so you may have been in like a chase, or somebody was trying to catch you and you like got out of the way or whatnot because you may be getting caught. So it was more of the storytelling. And then everything ties it all in together at the end. Skribbal comes back with the hook. I got that Tim Allen Coke, that rough edginess to it. That was super dope. Yeah, I mean, I left this with another 4.2 on 5. I thought it slapped.
Yeah.
Yo, I really appreciated this song. I'm gonna say it right now. This is my favorite track off of the 5 pack that Skribbal has provided to us. That chorus bumps. I never done coke, so I don't know what it feels like to be lifted up off of that Tim Allen Coke. But if we translate that into dope flows and bars, alright, I feel that chorus a lot. It got real stuck in my head. Like for real. Last few days, I got that Tim Allen Coke. Tim Allen Coke. Sang a blow like the tool man. Tim Allen Coke. Just stuck in my head over and over again. I'm like, I don't even do coke. So it's like, just stuck in my head, making me think about it. One of the things I love in a project, though, is consistency across songs. And I think that I have to give Skribbal a lot of points here for theming. The last song's called Holocaust Winds, right? And what does he do to tie that in? You confused like Jews rocking swastikas, Hitler Youth rocking yarmulkes. So like it's as much as it's kind of like him doing his rap thing, there is like a bridge now between track 1 and track 2 from almost a storytelling perspective that like keeps the theme of the album moving. There's the consistency with the Polanski bars tying back in the serial killer theme, making sure that it still gets brought over into this track, because arguably it does otherwise deviate a little bit. So I think that those little consistency things kind of really add the salt and pepper, so to speak, in my white boy seasoning to a project. It is what it is. Salt, pepper, garlic's my shit. I fucking love it. And paprika tastes
Garlic
like shit
powder.
to me. Yo, garlic powder be my
Dump that
jam, yo.
shit
I don't even
in.
fucking slice up garlics because it's too much fucking effort.
I mean, sometimes I do.
Anyway, I want to get a dicer machine. None of that's relevant. The flow's nice, but again, I feel like it's a little bit reliant on not necessarily complexity, but this like really well mastered simplicity that just drives home every syllable, all the delivery and emphasis, etc., keeping it proper, and it makes it, I find, way more enjoyable and way easier to listen to. And then like, because the beat's bouncy and good and it gives you a vibe, it's like it kind of gives you a little energy to go about your boring ass shit throughout a workday type feel. But also, when you listen to it, it's like, yo, the bars connect and do what they gotta do. Lord Goat's pretty good. I fucking agree a little bit with everything Chris was saying. I don't have a lot more to comment on it. I do feel like when he says in the deli, it reminds me of the homeboy CB Mac. So a little CB Mac plug. Y'all should go check him out. But otherwise, it's really like a solid, well-constructed verse that I feel like complements it and just kind of carries the song forward. It's less 80s home improvement shit for me, but you see it a bit, like a little bit. Not as much, but I think it still fits the song and works really well. I'm not gonna nitpick it. Like it's a good verse. Yeah. It's enjoyable to listen to. I'm gonna give this a proper 4.5. I really fucks with this track. Anyhow, let us travel to the Master of the Moon. Christopher, how do you feel about Master of the Moon?
So Master of the Moon was interesting. Because it gives me this like presence of like demon presence. I don't know how else to explain it. Like just melt flesh, smell death. I am fear. I appear, the shadow on your wall growing near. I am here. The cancerous infect through the brain. I'm just like, yo, like you're either expressing to us that like you have that you're dealing with shit and you've got like demons inside that you're trying to like kind of, I guess, control, but at the same time embodying this character. If there is a lot of references to like serial killers and playing these characters, then this is also really cool in how he expresses this like just venture into what I think is his mind. I like the hook, got the 12 gauge dumping, soak in love, how the blood got you choking. I'll watch you bleed and take your last breath. Like just that's super dark, but embracing the like the twistedness and psychoticness within that is actually kind of cool. Like he like Skribbal really slaps when it comes to these horrorcore type like the horrorcore theme. So I thought that was dope. And then my shit twisted sick like Albert Fish is. I looked up Albert Fish and I was like, okay, I see now where we're going with a lot of these.
Who's Albert
Um,
Fish, Chris? You can't just leave us hanging like that because I did not look up
so
Albert Fish.
I did.
Hamilton Howard Albert Fish, May 19th, 1870 to January 16th, 1936, was an American serial killer, rapist, child molester, and cannibal who committed a minimum of 3 child murders from July 1924 to June 1928.
That's serious.
But
So,
yeah, I think he also claimed that he killed like 100 people or something, but like he was only like found guilty of killing I think 3.
I like how in the second verse, Skribbal was like, cold villain from the dirt like an earthworm. From below I ascend when the earth burned. And I was like, yo, that's really cool how you're tying this into like the devilish spirits as well. And like how you like, to me, I guess I feel like he's kind of trapped with these like thoughts and these like sick, twisted ideas. And he's like expressing how he knows they come from the bottom and they come from down dark below. But he also acknowledges that like if shit were to ever pop off, this is how it's gonna like come to fruition in a sense, come to arise. So I thought that was also really cool. All about this is still consistent with the rest of the project. I thought it was really dope, and I gave it another 4.215.
So what I like.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Go
that.
ahead.
Good go, Bonnie. I should go last. It's just better for everyone.
Sure. So at the beginning we have like a news anchor. Like it sounded like, a real clip of like a news anchor talking about more murders, more attempts. And because at first the son of Sam was called the 44 caliber killer because it was always the same gun that he was using. And so that was the only thing that they had. And then the son of Sam name came after, like when he actually started writing letters to a newspaper and he would sign it, the son of Sam. Yeah, it's kind of cool like how he mixes that in, and it talks about like piling up the corpses. And I did also note that he had mentioned like Albert Fish, who exactly you had said that it was he was another serial killer. And apparently his nicknames were like the Moon Maniac and the Brooklyn Vampire. So again, I think it's just like going back to like where all these like kind of evil things happen at night. Although to be fair, Albert Fish sat down with the entire family, pretending to like be somebody else or something, and then asked if he could take the girl to a birthday party. And they were like, yeah, sure, even though they had no idea who he was. And yeah, he ate her.
Guess he's charismatic.
Yeah, so he killed her and ate her.
Jesus Christ.
And so like that was kind of about him, like being a cannibal and everything else. So basically he's just going to kill you in some sort of gory way, and then he's going to like bathe in your blood and like use it like lotion, like he kind of talks about. So it's like it's really interesting imagery, like it's very like horror imagery. But it like makes sense based off of everything that he's kind of talking about, the depraved criminals and all these things. And like Master of the Moon just makes me think of nighttime creepy, and he just kind of takes advantage of like the only moonlight there is because it's so dark everywhere else. So yeah, I think this one is another good one. It's especially if you're into horrorcore. I give this one a 4.35 on 5.
Now, maybe I'm stretching a little bit. Before I talk about the song, I forgot to comment on the Sony deal bars in the last track, which I think are super, maybe even relevant to this one. It's almost like Skribbal in the first track kind of presents a state of mind a little bit, gives us context in the second song, because, he does reveal that there seems to be people turning on him, and it is wild, that sellout conversation, where it's like your person does well and maybe creates the album they've been wanting to make for a minute, and because it's not your expectations as a fan, you shit on that person. Because they're an artist, so you bought their shit. So, there are people I know who flat out believe because they put money in the shit, they own it, or they have a say in it or whatever. And it's like fair.
Yeah.
I mean, you could look at it like that, but the other side of it is like, man, there seems to be this weird fetish of like fans who just want to see their artists miserable and make miserable music because maybe those fans are not having the best time in life. And the second an artist starts to elevate to a happier place due to better decisions and stuff, that like now that person's a sellout, or now we can't like what that person does. And even if you make a different kind of music, it's not always like you're abandoning the last kind of music you made. It's just, yo, maybe I wanted to make that music this month. Maybe that's where my head was at. And so it's almost like in response to that, Skribbal's like tripling the fuck down with some of the vilest shit you're gonna get, and breaking it down, and almost going and like giving in to what the people want a bit, and taking it to an extreme, but with the twist of, I am still this person that will fuck you up. Like, y'all got it twisted. You want this. You don't know that you want this. You want that smoke? I'm coming. And then uses the song as a way to contextualize, again, the emotion, the imagination. Again, from like a sound perspective, it's really different, and I really love that. There's still scratching, there's still core elements that keep the sound consistent across each song, but from a flow perspective, it's like Skribbal's a completely new Skribbal. But again, it's precise, simple, cleanly delivered, rides the beat perfectly, and it's just like really easy to listen to and enjoy. And then when you listen to it, you get the extra the layering that makes the song like fucking dope. This is another 4.5. I still like Tim Allen Coke better because that hook's fucking banging. But I like the sample shit, and I like the fact that Skribbal is almost like calling back to all the foundational elements of classic hip hop, as much as he's making random 80s references and shit to serial killers. So it's like calling back to the music of the time while talking about the culture of the time, while tying it into like his personal life. And I think that's kind of fire, to be honest. So I like that a lot.
I see that.
Anyway, let's move on then to track 4, The Black Sleep. Sleep, not sheep. Sleep. All right. Christopher, you look like you're ready to bust a nut over this one, so tell us.
Yo, so like on my first playthrough, and I heard the flow, I heard the way he spit this whole thing, I was bouncing, I was jumping, I loved it. And then I turned around and I'm like, doing the review and like reading the lyrics and stuff. And for a second, I was like, oh, I guess this is why Skribbal wanted me on this review this time, because I like this. Like, this is, like, I was like, okay, you knew I was going to like
argue
this.
Skribbal just always wants you on the review. Just like Lindell always wants you on the review, and all the OG fans always want you on the review.
I mean, fair enough. But no, this was like a really, really good vibe. This is literally like my shit. The double time, the quickness, the trickiness within the flows, the way he like just holds it all down is super dope. I like the idea of living within two worlds. That's like, I guess for me, something that I kind of feel like I go through sometimes. So that really stood out to me. I like how he kind of embraces the idea of being the black sheep, because in the beginning, it's like, if you could go back and change it, would you? And he's like, no. And I like that. I like how he's like accepting what his life is and kind of who, like, the role he plays in, I guess, other people's lives or in his family lives and stuff. And like, if he had the chance, he'd want to go through it again, because I think part of it is like understanding with just the way he presented this song and just the way he shows you how talented he is. It's like, I can't be this without what I went through. I can't be this without being the black sheep. So I thought that was really, really dope. I like the hook where it goes, already marked, but it's cold and we lost in the dark. Heart run black, backtrack to the start. I like that. For me, it's like, I think I said this before, I'm on this whole journey of trying to like figure my shit out. And I feel like Skribbal as well, bringing it back to the start, is kind of like going through, reminiscing on his life and being like, okay, so these are certain things that make me me. These are certain things that may tie into, kind of giving you a little bit of that. The stabbing you raw, stabbing you raw. That just sounds so dope. The way he goes with it, the way he kind of pops with it. I like that. And just, like, again, the way it's like, the fire that burns in the core, embrace the fall. I am the fall, heaven and hell. I am all living in between two worlds. It's just like be fighting that, like, I'm evil, but I'm also an angel, but I'm this, and that type of mentality is super crazy. And then just like, I didn't really understand when the MPC hit the mark, OD from the hurt. I mean, OD is overdose. I don't know what the MPC is.
So, I Googled MPC, and it is a lot of things, but it also is one of those beat making drum machine things.
Okay. So that actually is pretty cool.
Unless I'm wrong, somebody can correct that, but it could be some fucking local.
I'm that somebody. is Skribbal.
Yeah, like, I mean,
Fair enough.
that's the best I got from Google. But when you Google what does MPC mean, you had to go like 9 entries down to find the drum machine thing.
Yeah.
Fair. I like how goodbye, baby, don't cry, baby, don't cry. It's your time to die. Your fate has now arrived. I like how there's still more of that like accepting and just kind of like this is what life is kind of like, and this is how things go, and like it's inevitable. So we shouldn't kind of cry about it. We gotta like stay strong and push through. So I also like that. But overall, this whole vibe, the track and just everything with this, I love it. It's a 4.5 on 5 for me. I was like, yo, this is my track for this project.
Fair.
Yeah, it is definitely it has like an interesting like start to the song. It definitely sounds a little bit different from the others, but still has like the same sort of like feeling as the other ones. And one thing that I liked was the Ciao 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 Bella song, like which is like mixed into it heavily.
Facts.
And that's
Great
from
sample.
the very popular Money Heist. You know, where there is a lot of death and stealing and just kind of doing what you got to do to survive.
That's what it's
basically,
from. I was fucking sitting there
Yeah.
trying to remember that shit for a minute.
Oh, it played like a million times on that show. So yeah. The ciao ciao ciao. Yeah. And then say like, you know, he's basically saying that it's like your time to die. So don't cry about it. Like just deal with it. Like, you know, it's gonna happen. So shut up. And like the beat and like his lyrics, I feel like they blend so well together that it was like almost like difficult to like pull them apart. Like they just like were so cohesive. So it is a fun song, like in like the sense that, you know, it's still horrorcore and everything else, but it has like a great like vibe to it. And it's just basically about like, you know, for me, I took the way that it was about embracing death because, you know, it's going to get you, he's going to kill you, somebody's going to kill you. And that's how it is. So I also gave this a 4.5 on 5. I mean, after like listening to like the album a few times, like I felt like this one was definitely like my favorite one. And I also very much enjoyed the stabbing lines. So yeah.
Yeah, this one, maybe I'm just reading into it with my own experiences, but this sounds like somebody that be on like the up and doing well and finding out what the wolves be. Like, is, yo, manic, taken for granted, thrown to the wolves, ravaged. What you created, I updated, jaded. Right there, there's a sense that like, Skribbal has taken the craft and done his thing proper and studied and improved upon things, right? But then the idea of wolves and thrown to the wolves, like, you know, there's already some kind of fuckery that's taking place in the situation. Life ain't shit but a moment. Energy faded, lost in the ocean, drowning, sinking beneath what is hopeless. And then a little bit later, enemies doubted me, make them all bow to me. That will be my moment. Ain't you proud of me? And it's honestly like, it reminds me of just everything I've heard or everything I've seen where people turn on you a little bit when you start doing well and you get the opportunities and they don't, and you start to succeed in life, and all of a sudden it's like when you get promoted at work and you stop being like I remember when I left the call center, I stopped being call center, and the call center didn't like me the same no more. I was the other side, and that was like, that's a good way to like I kind of contextualize it. So it almost feels like his success has created this like situation in life that has him feeling murderous in a sense and just trying to like deal with it all. I still get rejected. I can't do nothing right. What's my life? Where my head at? It's almost like you're left to like question everything in this. But I like the fact that it's also got this sense of I'm taking all this emotion and I'm leveraging it to fuel shit to come back through. And after that first verse, you're stabbing you, taking it, showing what's up, and then allowing it to like go to the next level where via the music and etc. it's almost doubling down on the level of success and power that comes from what Skribbal brings to the table. And I really like that. It's a really cool concept in terms of delivery. The flows are obviously a bunch of triplets, super cleanly delivered. I mean, it's just well done stuff. It's not like the overly annoying triplet shit. It's that really smooth, super enjoyable, like people would make fun of it if you had auto-tune on it kind of level of triplets, which I really enjoyed. And it was smooth. It's a whole different vibe. The beat is ridiculous. And I feel like because it's a 5-track album thing, you gotta have that crazy versatility song to song. You kind of almost have to take every song on your project as an opportunity to showcase your toolkit in a pretty versatile way. And just by cleanly dropping such a modern flow after coming through with some of those more kind of, old school or more boom bappy inspired flows and shit, like more traditional, and then coming through with the modern shit and being like, I'll murk you with that too. It's a good it's a good flex. I really enjoyed that.
Yep.
It's like a 4.4 ish. It's like, I feel like I enjoyed it a little less than the other ones, but like it's still like in the same quality range. It's a really good song. My grades are meaningless, yo. Anyway, In Their Blood is the last track on this little EP.
Yummy.
Hey, Bonnie, what do you think of this last track on the Skribbal project?
Like this one just like felt more like old school and like hip hoppy like kind of feeling, and definitely like still like super grimy. Um, I don't have so much to say about this one. Praise One is featured on this one, and he does a good job. Like I liked his lines. I thought it was like a great beat. I like the scratching. Skribbal comes in and he spits hard, and very fun. I love it, enjoyable. I give this one a 4.35 on 5. That's it. That's all I'll say.
Sometimes it's okay to be short and sweet with it.
Mm-hmm.
You, Chris?
I thought it was cool. I like how it ties in with the title In Their Blood. So this is essentially what the title track. I like the energy to it. It's very consistent. It has a little bit of like as much as it has energy, it still feels like a lower energy in terms of being like the last track on the project, kind of like ending you off on like this. As much as it's like aggressive and very Skribbal like, it's still kind of like we're easing you out of this so you can go on with your day and do what you got to do, right?
Right.
Right.
I like how he starts off in the first verse, and Skribbal's like, you can live for the Lord, but you die by the sword. I'm a motherfucking giant. I'm defined with the bars. Where it's like he's keeping it at this level of like hand-to-hand combat in a sense. That's kind of something that stood out to me, like dying by the sword. You have to be like super skillful, super like be able to dodge that and stuff. With guns, it's like just aim and shoot. That's as simple as I'm making it, at least.
That's a great observation.
Like it still brings like you have to have talent, right? Like, and that's kind of what I got from there. And then that loops in with the giant being the best and being bigger than everybody, and then with the bars. I feel like it flows through. I like how this is cool. This is cool. Piss poor student. I couldn't pass a class. Told the teacher, kiss my ass, bitch. Then she let me smash. I'm a product of environment, meth and white trash. And just I don't know why that stood out to me, but it's like I could see how these encounters and situations could lead to maybe some issues in your head or certain experiences you may feel like you've been having or stuff, because like it's not really common that happens with teachers, or maybe it is, I don't know. But either way, I still like how Skribbal kept it real to him and really went in and did his thing. Then we got the hook, In Their Blood, from the gutter, motherfucker, get it on. We some dirty motherfuckers. We've been in the gutter for so long. I like how they're just kind of reminding you of who they are, where they come from, just letting you know, like, don't forget that this is us. This is just what we represent and what we're trying to like bring to the table and explain to everybody. Praise One did really well just with like the word selection and just like these thoughts are relentless, more than intended, taken so reckless, get jumped in the hood, told him not meant. It's like just the way he delivered that was super ear catchy. I was like, okay, I'm on this. It's got like a bop to it with his flow as well. More felt like, at least for Praise One, it's more of like kind of what he sees around in his environment, more than kind of just more about himself, I guess. But overall, it was a pretty solid track. Did really well. Another 4.2 on 5. They both brought it, and it's a nice way to kind of wrap this whole project up.
Yeah.
I mean, I like this one as like a song. It definitely, I feel like it's a left turn. Like you get jerked a little bit on this one. Like there was like a flow to the other four, and then this one comes in, and maybe that's the point because it's some serial killer slap you shit. But in the general, like thematically, this feels like breaking through all of the walls and the whatever was holding you back, and just being like, fuck that, I'm the shit. And it's like a battle cry, and being proud of where you're from and just owning your shit and just being out there. At a bar level, I don't have as much to comment. I mean, I feel like Chris brought up a lot of the more noteworthy stuff, and Praise One, albeit I'll fucks with his flow and stuff. I'm also left like, it's flexing, really well written, connecting bars within the realms of the style. Um, I enjoyed the flows a lot. I enjoyed the way this bounces over it, but I feel like honestly, just like moving this shit somewhere else sonically would have been like a nicer vibe and ending on Black Sleep or something. Like from a placement, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be going there, but that's just what it feels like. It's the problem with placement is sometimes it like makes a song sound different. Like you like it more or less based on what you just heard. And for me, that was the overall impact. However, as a song, it's really well made, and I think it's more on that 4.25. I've never been it's Black Sleep, bro. It says it on Spotify and it says it on fucking Genius.
Yeah.
And like all I'm saying is, in general, the more aggressive, flexy, like this kind of braggadocious isn't my favorite, but I think they do it well. And I feel like from Skribbal's end and from Praise One's end is super fucking testimonial. And it really fucking hits. And I really enjoy listening to it. Overall, yeah, I'm going to give this one, like I said, 4.25 to, that kind of range of shit. What's up, breakfast cereals? On that note, yo, that we get the end of the little EP. Chris, what do you think is a little summation?
I think this project's dope. I think this is I honestly, Skribbal, I don't remember your last project, so I'm gonna look at this as like a new project from you and be like, all right, fresh ears, and this is fire. I really like the Black Sleep song.
I promise.
Yeah, Sleep. Yeah, I'm staring at it now. I'm staring at it because I'm like fucking up here. But I really like that flow. I really like how you killed it. Everything on this project really does stick to the theme of what you're trying to bring. And I like it. I like how you just are being real with yourself. The features on this project really stand up with you and don't kind of like shy away from what you do. They really brought their A game, which was dope, which I think also plays into projects as well too. Like your features kind of have to be able to match up to what you can bring. And yeah, like the storytelling and just understanding you more with this project is really dope. Overall, it became 4.26 on 5.
And
Thanks.
your lady friend Bonnie?
I liked it. I mean, it was fun. It was gory. It was exactly what I was like expecting. And more. Like it was just like super fun. Because he makes like these like really hard bars, but it's like his voice makes it like
fun.
Yeah, like it's just like energy and good vibes and like, but still like super aggressive and like hard. So it's like a cool like overall feeling. And it's very much about like, true crime, serial killers, about like that kind of thing, which, super basic white girl, love that shit. So
I do picture Skribbal sitting there with a nice little glass of wine watching true crime shit sometimes.
Red wine, like he's like, drinking blood, like, something fun. So I give it a 4.41 on 5, so that's an 88%. So pretty good EP.
I fucks with the project. I mean, I think each song slaps different. It showcases his versatility.
Yep.
It's really clean and simple deliveries, well written. It's like, I think it's like at a certain point in your like artistic journey, you stop trying to flex on skill and you start focusing on how to package shit properly. This shit feels packaged really nicely. And from the cover art to like the way the bars connect to the way the songs kind of up into the last one kind of feel like the super good flow going on. And then, I mean, look, you guys might like how the last one flows. I'm not trying to tell you it's right or wrong. But I really think this is a well-rounded project. Like, I know a lot of people that would fucks with this. And I'm left with that feeling. It's like a 4.4-ish to me. It's really well made, and it does everything an EP is supposed to do. So on that note, y'all, appreciate y'all being here with us. For those watching live, we are about to go record another one, but we're recording the YouTube video at the same time. So this is the outro for the YouTube video. Appreciate y'all being here with us. Thank y'all, those of you that stuck with us to the live. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and if you want to see us do a particular album review in the future, patreon.com/BehindThatSuit. On that note, make sure to leave comments. Let us know what you think. Make sure to check out Skribbal. Links in description. On that note, yo, live long and prosper, everyone.
Bye, guys.